The afternoon had started like any other, calm and uneventful. I was sprawled out on the couch, my feet resting comfortably on the edge, mindlessly flipping through channels. The house was quiet, save for the occasional clattering from the kitchen, where my stepmom was busy preparing lunch. It was the kind of day that lulled you into a sense of peace, where time seemed to move a little slower. And then it all changed. Her voice pierced the quiet like a thunderclap. "What is this?" she screamed, storming into the living room with a fury I hadn't seen before. I jolted upright, the remote slipping from my hand and tumbling onto the floor. My heart immediately began to race, not because I knew what was coming, but because the energy she brought into the room was impossible to ignore. Her face was bright red, her hands trembling, and her eyes, those piercing eyes, were locked onto me with an intensity that made the air feel heavier. She wasn't just angry. She was seething, like a volcano on the verge of eruption. I stammered, trying to find words, but nothing coherent came out. "Why? What's wrong?" I managed to ask, my voice barely above a whisper. She didn't respond right away. Instead, she marched closer, her every step a hammer pounding against the floor. When she finally stopped in front of me, she flung something onto the couch with such force that it bounced before landing inches away from my hand. My gaze fell to the item, and in an instant my world came crashing down. It was a bra. Not just any bra. A delicate, black, lacy thing that seemed to mock me with its very existence. My breath caught in my throat and my entire body went rigid. The weight of her stare bore down on me, demanding an explanation. But my mind was a whirlwind of panic and confusion, unable to piece together how or why this had happened. "Explain this," she hissed, her voice sharp and unrelenting. I blinked, my mouth opening and closing as I tried to form words. I don't know," I finally stuttered, though the words felt feeble and insufficient even as I said them. Her expression darkened, the disbelief in her eyes cutting deeper than any words could. "You don't know," she repeated, her tone dripping with venom. "This was in your pocket. Are you seriously going to sit there and play dumb?" My heart dropped to my stomach. My pocket. The pieces began to click together, slowly and painfully. I remembered earlier, when my so-called friend had shoved the bra into my bag, laughing like it was the funniest thing in the world. I hadn't thought much of it at the time, brushing it off as one of his stupid pranks. But now, staring at the evidence of his idiocy lying on the couch, I realized just how catastrophic his little joke had turned out to be. "It's not what you think," I blurted out, my voice cracking under the pressure. Her eyes narrowed. "Oh, really? Then why don't you tell me exactly what it is, because from where I'm standing this looks very bad." "It's a prank," I said quickly, my words tumbling out in a desperate rush. "One of my friends put it in my bag as a joke. I didn't even know it was there." She didn't look convinced. In fact, her anger seemed to intensify. Her fists clenched at her sides and her breathing grew heavier, each exhale like a puff of smoke from a dragon's nostrils. "A joke?" she repeated, her voice rising. "You expect me to believe that? Do you think I'm stupid?" "No, I swear that's what happened," I pleaded, my hands raised in surrender. "I didn't even realize it was there until now." Her laughter was cold and humorless. "Unbelievable," she muttered, shaking her head. "You're unbelievable." The room felt suffocating, the walls closing in as her words continued to lash out at me. "Do you have any idea how inappropriate this is?" she demanded, her voice trembling with rage. "What if someone else had found this? What if your father saw it? Do you have any clue how embarrassing this is for me? For you?" "I didn't do anything wrong," I protested, though my voice sounded small and insignificant against the storm of her fury. "You didn't do anything wrong?" she snapped, her tone incredulous. "You're walking around with something like this in your pocket and you think that's okay? You think that's normal behavior?" The weight of her anger was unbearable, pressing down on me until I could hardly breathe. I wanted to disappear, to sink into the couch and escape the relentless torrent of accusations. "Stepmom, I'm telling the truth," I tried again, my voice breaking under the strain. But she wasn't listening. She was too far gone, her rage blinding her to anything I said. By the time she finished yelling, I felt like I'd been through a battlefield. My punishment was swift and severe, grounded for a month, with extra chores piled on top for good measure. She didn't want to hear another word about it, slamming the metaphorical gavel down on my defense. In the days that followed, the tension in the house was unbearable. She barely spoke to me, and when she did, her words were cold and clipped. The incident hung over us like a dark cloud, a constant reminder of the chaos that one stupid prank had unleashed. Looking back, I still can't decide whether to laugh or cry about the whole thing. The absurdity of it all, the bra, her reaction, the sheer drama of it, feels almost surreal now. But at the time, it was anything but funny. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that friends can be a curse disguised as a blessing. And maybe, just maybe, I should start checking my pockets before stepping foot inside the house.